Today I've got an extremely unique build for you. It's really weird, but I think it's deceptively powerful. So we're going to do a melee warlock, but we're not going to be Hexblade. We're not going to take Pact of the Blade. We're actually going to be a Celestial Warlock, and we're going to be taking Pact of the Chain. So how are we going to put this together? First off, we're going to want 16 in our Dexterity, Charisma, and Constitution. We're going to want more Dexterity than most Warlocks want because we're going to be making attacks with a finesse-based weapon, and we really need those attacks to hit to be efficient, so having at least 16 in Dexterity is a good way for us to start doing that. As for our race, we're going to pick up Goliath. I've been running Goliath a lot, and I just find that a resource as a reaction is so much more efficient than any other resource, because I could pick up an Earth Genasi, for example, but they have to use their bonus action to become more tanky. It's really nice that Goliaths give you as much tankiness as they do, a significant amount, and they do it using a reaction. A reaction as a resource for a Warlock is notoriously underused. What does a Warlock do with their reaction? The only thing I really think of is the Rebuke of the Talisman. Basically everything else, a Warlock, what are they going to do? Hit you with a stick? No. And so Goliath actually fits this really well. As I said, we're going to become Celestial at level 1. I think there's some cool synergies that come from being a Celestial. We get the Light cantrip. Goliaths don't have Dark Vision, so now we take care of that issue right away for basically free. We also get the Sacred Flame cantrip. Now, this isn't going to be our main cantrip, but once we hit level 6, its damage improves. I'm not going to lie to you and say it's better than Eldritch Blast. If you did all the Eldritch Blast stuff, it would be better than just taking the Sacred Flame cantrip with the level 6 bonus. However, if we use those invocations well, and we use our extra cantrip selection well, I think we can get enough value to justify doing something different, and that's just it. It also allows us to do something unique and totally different. So, talking about those cantrips, the one we really need to take is Booming Blade. Booming Blade is going to be a major part of our playstyle. And as for our spells, I'm thinking we're going to be using Guiding Bolt basically universally until we get our second level spells, and then that will change. We'll probably never use it again after that point. Next up is our invocations. The one we really need to take is Eldritch Mind. Eldritch Mind is going to be so important for protecting our concentration because we're going to be getting hit. We are a melee warlock, and we are using studded leather armor with a +3, so we're basically looking at, what, 15 AC? We're going to be getting hit all the time. That being said, we're going to be surprisingly tanky despite that. But because we're getting hit, we need to protect our concentration because concentration will be core to this playstyle. Eldritch Mind is going to go a huge way to protecting that concentration. As for our second invocation, we're trading it out at level 3, so take whatever you think will be good at level 2. So at level 3, we get Pact of the Chain, and we're going to pick up the invocation Gift of the Ever-Living Ones. So long as our familiar is within 100 feet of us, every bit of healing we do to ourselves is maximized, so long as we roll a dice. So going back to our first feature, we get a pool of dice that we can either use to resurrect our allies, which is great for the first 2 levels because people fall all the time during that time, so it has great value from the beginning of the game. But now we have options. We can do an emergency pickup of our allies, but we can also heal ourselves for max efficiency. Instead of rolling, we just do the 6 plus whatever it is, and we get that extra health on top of it. Combine that with the fact that we're a Goliath and we can use our reaction to take damage. It gives us 3 resources that we need to consider. We can heal ourselves with our pool of d6s, we can resist damage with our Goliath resistance, and then we also have our short rest hit dice. Those short rest hit dice also are maximized, so we don't have to guess how many we need to use, we know exactly. And there's a lot of nuance here because we want to balance those 3 pools. We don't want to spend all of our hit dice to get maximum health and then have short rest where we heal nothing because we just wasted one of our pools. So you want to balance it out. It's okay to go to half health and not use your healing, take a short rest, go back to maximum health, and then you still have that pool of dice throughout the rest of the day. So there is some nuance here, but between those 3 things, our HP can go a freaking long distance. And it's going to be interesting because we're kind of tanking in a way because the DM feels like they're hitting us. They feel like they're going to kill us, but we just never die. We just keep healing everything off. We can actually go a really long time without dying, a surprising amount. At level 4, we're picking up the mobile feat and we're coming directly online here. At level 3, we got Flaming Sphere. I didn't mention it much because it's going to be much more important here. We're going to be doing the mobile Booming Blade Flaming Sphere combo. This combo is awesome because they're either taking the extra Flaming Sphere damage or they're taking the extra Booming Blade damage. They don't get an option outside of that. Now, if they're melee, they're going to be taking that Booming Blade damage because they're going to want to run up and hit us. If we were doing the math for this build, which I'm not, but if we were doing the math for this build, we could reliably say they're taking that extra D8 or 2D8 at level 5 of damage when we're doing our calcs, because it's likely that they're going to move out of that Flaming Sphere range. Flaming Sphere also upcasts phenomenally well, so it's a great spell to keep using. It really makes us a sustained damage dealer. We can sustain our damage throughout combats just over and over again. Once we hit level 5 spells, that Flaming Sphere is doing 66 as a bonus action, and then if they hold still, it's doing another 66. That's going to add up quick. We are online at this point, but I think it's still worth talking about level 5. With level 5, we can now cover swarms. You know, those hypnotic pattern and fear spells? Yeah, those are freaking good against swarms, where our Flaming Sphere Booming Blade combo is good at really doing a lot of damage to a single target. Now we have options for when there's a bunch of people to deal with. Furthermore, our summon spells work really well with Booming Blade mobile. Say we put them next to a Shadow Spawn. Let's even say the Despair Shadow Spawn. The Shadow Spawn's great because it's tankier than most other summons, and that's really something we're going to be looking for with this. We want the tankiest summon we can find. We run in there, we hit them with the Booming Blade. Now they're next to our Shadow Spawn. This is less about doing sustained damage and more about locking them down, because think about their option there. They can move about 10 feet because they've they have 20 feet of reduced movement, but they're going to take a booming blade attack as well as a reaction attack from your summon. That's not a very good trade-off, so they're going to be very incentivized just to stand there and hit your summon, and that's what you want. You want your summon taking those hits for you. Think about how many actions it's going to take for them to kill your summon. 2, 3. Those are 2, 3 actions that it just took you 1 action to summon your creature, and you got damage output out of it. It's really fantastic synergy there. So now we have this damage strategy, we have this lockdown strategy, and then we mix it with things like Hypnotic Pattern and Fear to just really mess up swarms. At level 6, our Sacred Flame gets a bit better, but more importantly, it's probably going to be boosting our Flaming Sphere's first turn of damage. That's probably going to be more consistent than us using Sacred Flame. So more often than not, we're using Booming Blade. However, extra damage is extra damage. I don't consider this a huge deal, but it does improve our damage a bit. So what are we at this point? Well, technically we're a hit and run fighter, but we're not really expecting not to be hit. We're not trying to escape their range. We'll probably be 10, 15 feet away from them. We want to be kind of bait to convince them to move towards us to proc that Booming Blade super consistently. When they do hit us, we are deceptively tanky. So I'd say that we're a sustained damage dealer, a controller who is deceptively tanky and can also like lock people down. We can do a lot of cool stuff with this build. As for our defenses, our AC is pretty garbage, but our health kind of takes care of that. We have solid saves across the board. We have advantage on our Constitution saves when it comes to concentration. We have proficiency in our Wisdom saves already. We've invested more dex than a Warlock normally would. So overall, our main saves are quite taken care of. We have resistance to cold damage by being a Goliath. We cover a little bit of that elemental damage side of things. Moving forward, I would make sure to get my Charisma up with our ASIs, even though, you know, we're using our dex. I think Charisma is going to be the important one to boost up first because we are a Warlock. But afterwards, I think it'd be completely viable to pick up some Constitution or some Dexterity, get some more AC, hit our Booming Blades more consistently, or to just have more HP to do what we do best, which is just take hits like a boss. So do we have any weaknesses? I'd say stealthing is one of our weaknesses. We don't have dark vision and we have to rely on the light cantrip to see in the dark. But if we manage to get dark vision in some other way, we're not going to be bad at stealthing. We do have a decent dex. I would say we're also not going to be very good at multi-classing. This isn't going to be a build you want to multi-class because the higher level we go in Warlock, the more of those dice we get to heal ourselves. So we really don't want to get out of Warlock anytime soon. We want to commit to it, which I like. I think Warlock is a class that's subclass too often, so I like doing full Warlock builds. I think that's a fun thing that we can do here. But what I haven't done for this character is give it a cool flavor. What do you think would be cool to do with a Goliath and a Pact of the Celestial? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm really interested to see what you guys come up with. I hope you guys enjoyed this build, and other than that, I hope you have yourselves a really fantastic day. Go out there, get some sun, drink some water, live your life the best you can, and I'll see you on the next one. Love you guys. Peace.